today being the memorial of Our Lady of the Rosary, or originally known as Our Lady of the Victory. I was just thinking of, I think it was over the summer, like either in July or August, where the Atlantic put out an article, and it made, I'm not a normal reader of the Atlantic, but it made national news of this article that put out saying that how the Rosary has become an extremist weapon, and criticizing Pope Francis for, talking about spiritual combat. And so all of you who gather and pray the Rosary here on, in the morning before Mass, you're using an extremist symbol, right? But it does point to the fact of, I think it was Padre Pio that first talked about the weapon, or the Rosary being as a weapon, and the spiritual combat, of course, the enemy not being other people, but being the enemy, the devil. I just want to say a word about the gospel, the last part of the gospel, which was always very confusing to me, where Jesus says this, after the spirit has been driven out, the demon has been driven out, it says that it goes around, looking for somewhere else to go, and then it says, hey, I'm going to go back to where I came. I was just driven out, and I'm going to go back to where I came. And upon coming back, it says that it finds it swept clean and put in order. Okay, so I'm like, okay, well, that means like that's a good thing. But then Jesus goes on to say, then it goes and brings back 7 other spirits more wicked than itself, who move in and dwell there. And and now the condition of the man is now worse off than it was before. So what the heck is going on? And so what Jesus is doing here, he's giving a warning. And the warning is saying the absence of evil is not enough. But the spirit, or the soul, is meant for the indwelling of God and his spirit. So you think of like even going to confession and being made clean, sins being wiped away, the blood of the cross being poured down upon me, I'm washed clean. But if it remains empty of the needed virtues, maybe contra of those vices, then the soul is susceptible again for those vices just to come right back and to fall. So it's a warning by Jesus, so similar to a garden, right? If you pluck the weeds out, and if flowers aren't planted in its place, it's just runs the risk all the more for those weeds just to grow right back. And so it's important of the building of the virtues is the warning that Jesus is giving here. Okay, I've gone to confession. I've confessed it, and I'm wiped clean of sin. That's no small thing. That's huge. But as Paul talks about, or the author of the Hebrews in Hebrews 12, we looked at a number of months ago, rid yourself of every sin and burden that clings to you, that keeps you from running the race. Go to confession, and then build the needed virtues. It's Saint Caesarius of Arles. He lived in the 6th century in France, and he says this, commenting on this verse. He says, when Christ came, he banished the devil from our hearts in order to build in them a temple for himself. Let us therefore do what we can do with his help, so that our evil deeds will not define that temple. And so, as it was yesterday, the Father, when we call and we ask for the Holy Spirit, we that's the soul's, that's the Spirit's home. And so, let us build those virtues, contra to the vices that cause us to sin and to bring to confession, and then it's putting in the work to build those virtues to combat the evil. And one of those combats might be praying the rosary.